Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the official first day of High Point Market. Welcome to Universal Furniture. You're in the Learning Center. We have 11 events Friday through Tuesday, and today is Saturday, so it's been a long week already. But good news is we record all these events, so if you have registered for one or if you've come to one and been scanned, you're going to get an email in about a week or so with all the recordings. So the building itself, Universal, we are a whole home offering. So we have outdoor, indoor, and special order upholstery, 115,000 square feet, lots to see, new outdoor collection on 3, 2 new introductions on floor 2, some special order offerings on floor 1, including now we are also into COM, so that's available. Everything in the showroom is tagged with pricing, and you can get a scanner at the front desk to check in, experience all of that, and then also we have a number of kind of fun activations taking place in the Designer's Lounge. We have a beauty bar, there's some champagne, some wine, there's a pottery pop-up with a local artisan with pottery available for sale that she can also ship to you if you don't want to carry it home. And then we also have the Sip Sip cart out front right now. Maybe some of you partaked in a few Sip Sips, which is great. Nice, excellent. So, and then we have a fun party on Monday night, so if you get to come back, please do so. So again, if you just want to experience any of the showroom, just check in at the front desk, and they'll be more than happy to help you. So John McClain here, again, I think this is like the 4th market we've had John, and always draws a great crowd and has such an interesting background in terms of what he's done in his own design business as well as coaching and providing some insight for all of you. So you'll definitely learn something, and we're excited to have you here. So I'll kick it over to you. Thank you.
All right. I have to have this water because it is springtime in High Point and it's allergy season, so I'm going to sit this here and I will need it. If anybody has ever been to anything that I've ever led or listened to my podcast, y'all know that I like to teach. So this is not going to be some little fluffy fluff little chit chat. I actually get into the nitty gritty because I don't know any better, and that's just kind of what I do. So this will be a lot of information, and I will have a download for you at the end. So stay to the end. There will be a little QR code you can scan, and you can actually download the actual, PDF of everything. And as Neil said, they'll record everything. They have a great website. YouTube channel, I should say. You can go on there and get all this stuff. So anyway, by the way, Universal, this is so fantastic. I just love what they do. I love that they have this room, this learning center. They have all the drinks, the cocktails, the food. You can get your hair did, all that kind of stuff here. It's so cool. So thank you, Neil and Universal. Such a fantastic thing that you guys do here. All right. So the name of this presentation, if you guys aren't hungry yet, is Would You Like Fries with That? And we're going to talk about how to upsell your clients for profit. But before we get into that, I want to tell you a little story about this little fella right here. So this was me, and when I was on HGTV way back in the day, Vern and I looked very young here, and we were. And so I think this was 2007 or 8. And so I didn't know any better. I didn't know anything back then, actually. So this was a show about throwing someone who was a first-time designer into a situation. And so they send you, this is how old this is, they send you a DVD. So they sent me a DVD of what this client wanted, right? So they sent me this DVD, and it was this couple. And I could tell right away who was in control. It was the wife, right? So the wife was like, I want this and this and this. But it was all neutrals. It was all kind of like, kind of see like in the background there, this was the living room. I didn't do that part. But she was like, I want neutrals, and she kept using the word milky, which kind of grossed me out. So I was like, okay. So I was watching this DVD, and I'm like, no, hell no, I'm not going to do this. This is my one chance on television. I'm going to give them color, damn it. So I go in, and I scrap all of the things that she wanted, and I didn't listen to a word she said. And I go in, haven't met them at all, by the way. Haven't met them in person whatsoever. Cameras are right here in my face. I'm doing their primary bedroom. And I go into the bedroom. Cameras are here. Vern's there. They're all there. And I pull out my little hodgepodge of a presentation, which is like a bunch of stuff kind of glued to a piece of foam board. And so I open it up, and she's like, what is that? And I was like, that's your new bedroom. Don't you love it? It's so pretty. And she was like, wait, what? That's not even what I asked for. And I was like, yeah, but it's color and it's blues and it's, she's like, no, I hate it. And so I'm literally like panicking. I'm literally like panicking, like freaking out, like on top of like the camera's here. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys, what am I gonna do? And so Vern's looking at me, the camera's looking at me, she's looking at me, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna fix this. And the reason that it was such a polarizing moment was they were going away. I was not gonna see them for 5 days. So I see them there, and then that's it. I'm never going to see them again. And so that was the first and the last time I would see them until the reveal at the end of the week. Long story short, the reason that did not work out was because I did not listen to their needs. I did not listen to what she was asking me. She was telling me exactly what she wanted. I did what I wanted versus doing what she wanted. So the way it all ended, and she was kind of mean too, so I really didn't like her that much, but she was not that ideal client that we talk about. So it ended fine because she came in for the reveal. I gave her her neutrals, and then I did little touches of, my colors on things that she could just toss away and throw away and get rid of at the end of the day. But she ended up loving it, so she said. I'm sure she threw it away when the cameras were gone, but the good thing was, I was so sassy in that episode because I ended up putting her on my shoulder. I was like making her talk over my shoulder the whole time. So I was really kind of like, oh, what would Brooke say? This was her name, Brooke. So I'm like, oh, Brooke would say this and da-da-da-da-da. So the show got really good ratings. So that was even more important. But the thing is I want you to remember from that story is when you're working with a client, you have to listen to their needs. And that is the underlying tone of what I want you to take away from today's presentation is that you cannot sell anybody anything unless you're hearing what they're saying. So this is me. I am an interior designer, been one for 15 years now. I am a business coach. I'm an author. I have a coffee table book that was released right here in this very room about a year and a half ago. I have a podcast called The Designer Within. Please listen to it. I'm just the same person there as I am here, you'll find. I love cupcakes. I am a professional Dolly Parton stalker. Like, that woman has no idea how much I love her. And also, I am an advocate for you. I truly, truly am. Like, I realized that I did not have all the tools that I needed when I started out. So now, like, kind of my goal is to give all of that to everybody else. All right, here's what we're going to learn today. How to create your sales mindset. So before we talk about how to upsell, I want you to have a nice background about how to sell. Because funny enough, my background before I did design was in sales in a kind of roundabout way. I did advertising sales. And so I had this sales background. And if you all think that you're not salespeople, you're salespeople. You're salespeople. If you think that you are not selling, you're selling every single day. You're selling to your clients. You're selling to your vendors. If you have a team, you're convincing them to do things. We're all salespeople. So I want you to really grasp the importance of having a sales mindset and to just embrace it and own it. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the top keys to selling because over the years, I've become pretty good at it, and there's a way to do it that is not pushy. There's a way to do it that doesn't turn the client away, that doesn't scare them, and there's a way to do it that is that is just your way, that you can own and be yourself. Of course, we're going to talk about upselling and what that is, when to do it, and how to do it. And I'm going to give you my upsell blueprint, which is really just my steps that I've come up with on how I upsell clients. And they're happy. They get a lot of benefit from it, and we make a lot of money from that as well. And then I have a really special announcement. I do something really special every single market for everyone who comes to the Universal presentation, and I have something for you guys today too. All right, here are the 4 ways to create a sales mindset. First of all, know your strengths, know your superpowers. What this means is know what you're really, really good at. Know what you do better than anyone else. So for me, for instance, my family renovated houses and they built houses. And so I know how to renovate a house. And I know all the nuts and bolts of that. And clients love when I can tell them, oh yeah, I know all about how to renovate a house, and they trust me more. So whatever your superpower is, find it, hone in on it, use it to your advantage. If you're not good at bringing color into a room, don't tell your client that you are. Don't brag about that. Don't try to be something that somebody else is that you're not good at. You have a superpower. You need to find it and be really good at it. All right, this is a big one. If you don't take anything else away from this entire day, please take this away. I want you to change the term selling to serving, okay? And you're going to hear me say selling because that's kind of what we talk about today, but the meaning behind it is serving, because you are serving that person. You're not selling them something. You are serving them because you are giving them something of value. Yes, you're selling a product, and yes, they're paying you for something, but you are serving them because you are fulfilling a need that they have. So if you ever have felt icky or gross or weird or whatever about asking somebody to pay for something, if you flip your switch in your head and just know that you are serving them, you are giving them something that only you can give them, that they can't get anywhere else, that only you can provide, and you're serving them, that will make you feel so much better when you're asking them to pay the big fees that we charge for all the things that we do. Listen 80%, serve 20%. This is probably hard for a lot of us because I know a lot of you are big mouths like me and you like to talk. So listen is a big component of this. You have to listen more than you can sell and more than you can serve. So if you listen to what that client is saying 80% of the time, that 20%, though it may seem small, it's going to mean so much more, because what you're saying in that 20% is taking care of all that 80% that they're telling you. So that 80%, they're telling you all the problems, all the needs. My kids don't have dinner with me because there's no space to do it, or, I love to entertain, but I don't have enough room in my house, or I wish we could have dinner outside, but we don't have a space to do that. So all these things that they're telling you, that's what you have to listen to, and that's what you have to pick up on. And then you can serve them by telling them how you can fix that problem. And then lastly, find and embrace the best version of you. This is something that I had such a hard time with in the beginning. I wanted to be you and you and you and all the other designers out there, but I never wanted to be me. I never was confident enough 15 years ago to just say, okay, John, just be yourself. Just be you. Don't try to be, whoever you see on television. Don't try to be Vern Yip, and don't try to be all these other people. Just be yourself. Because when you do that, the clients that are your clients, they'll gravitate towards you. And the ones who aren't, they really will repel away from you. And then the magical thing that happens is you don't have to change the way you talk. You don't have to come up with, fake things to say. You don't have to think about what you say before you say it, because everything that rolls out of your mouth just sounds like the way that you would speak, and that person can relate to that because they are your person. They are your client. So when you are the best version of yourself and you just embrace that, your client finds you too. All right. This is my favorite way to sell. The consultative sales method. So here is how this works. So these are kind of points that I've come up with for how I like to sell. Again, it's that way you do it that's sort of nonchalant, that's not pushy, that's not overpowering. So first of all, you want to balance your questions with insights. And what I mean by this is when you're asking someone a question, you want to ask them, of course, what they think about this, or what they're doing in their house, or how they're living in their home. But then you want to give them an insight to how you're the pro, how you are the answer to that problem, how you have done this before, how you are the expert. So you can ask them all these questions, but you need to have the insight to show them that you're the expert who can also solve that problem. Kind of building off of that, you also want to build knowledge-based trust. So when you're answering these questions, you're getting their trust because you have that knowledge, right? So you're having that knowledge in your head, you're sharing that knowledge with them, and they're going to trust you more because you're proving to them that you've done this before. Like for me, I can talk about renovations, I can talk about design, I can talk about all these things that go on with it, and they know, like, oh, wow, he knows what he's talking about. Just like a lot of you can talk about these things. It's going to develop that trust with your client. Keep it conversational and keep it genuine. Don't go on ChatGPT and say, what should I say to a client, or Google it, or, don't copy what somebody else does. Keep it in your own words. Keep it conversational. Just be yourself. Like I said before, keep it very natural. People can tell when you're BSing. People can tell when it's other words coming out of your mouth. So if you can't find the words to say, then just shut up and just move on and come back to it later. So just try to practice, and you'll get better and better and better at being yourself and being conversational. Take ownership of the conversation. So what I mean by this is, I want you to be decisive. Clients don't hire us to be wishy-washy. They don't hire us to be like, well, I don't know, what would you do? Or I don't know, let's see what, maybe I'll come back tomorrow. No, they want you to be decisive in your answer. So when you take ownership of the conversation and say, here is what I would do, that's what they want. That's what they're hiring you for. That's what they brought you in on. So you need to take ownership of that conversation and guide them through to finding the solution to their problem. The next one, let feedback guide the process. Pretty self-explanatory, but I want you to get feedback from them, take that feedback, and then move on to the process. So if they give you an answer and they say, yeah, I really don't like that, or I love this, take that, provide a solution to them based upon what they give you. This one's super important. Know your customers' needs and offer relevant solutions. So don't just have, this will date me, but don't just have a Rolodex of answers to give to people to say, oh, here are 20 things I would do to your house, and you give the same people the same 20 things, right? Make it very special to them, very relevant to what they're looking for. It will make them understand that you are catering this to them and that you're listening to them, right? So you're offering them a solution to their needs. So if they tell you that they want to have all their kids around while they're cooking dinner, okay, I can give you a solution to that. We can create a big island in your kitchen and just have 8 bar stools around it, right? So that's what they're looking to you for. You have to create a relevant solution to the need that they're giving you. And again, just wanted to put it on here, listen intently to what they're saying. All right, I call it know your very best client. I think that ideal client's kind of thrown around, so this is what I have as a definition. Your very best client is a client who finds their needs fulfilled with the services that you offer, your method of operations, and who has an appreciation and respect, for your skills and your knowledge. More so, your very best client is someone that you generally enjoy working with, someone who allows you to use your talents and expertise in the most optimal way for your project success, and who sees the value in their investment for your exchange of your services. So I just wanted to put this on here because when you work with your ideal client, as you've heard that term, or as I call it, your very best client, when you're working with them, all of these upsells that I'm going to talk to you about, all of the selling process, it's so easy. It's so effortless. You can do it. You're not scared. You're not timid. They're not afraid to talk to you about their needs. They're not afraid to tell you what they like, what they don't like. You're not afraid to ask them for, that upsell. You're not afraid to ask them for renovating the kitchen that's $400,000 or whatever, because they trust you enough and you trust them enough. So I just wanted to put this in there because this upselling doesn't work with just, Joe Schmo off the street. You still have to have your very best client when you're working with them. All right. The keys to selling, here we go. This is what I see as the biggest detriment to all of you, and sometimes to me too, is that we don't know our value. Y'all don't know how good you are. You don't know how much you do. You don't know how much value you bring to the table. You don't know how much you give your clients, and you just take it for granted that everybody in the world can do what all of you do. They cannot. They cannot. They cannot. They cannot. You're so good, and I want you to remember that. Like it is such a disservice to yourself when you think, oh, sure, anyone can do what we do. They can't. They really can't. I don't care if you've been to school, haven't been to school, I don't care. What we do as designers is such a valuable skill set, and I don't ever want you to forget the value that you bring. So all of this, when you're selling, remember your value, because our clients can't do that. That's why they're calling us, okay? So don't ever forget that part. All right, as I said before, serve instead of sell. I want you to remember that. So again, when you have that serving mindset, you're taking care of their needs, right? You're taking care of what they need versus what you just want to push towards them. You're not selling them something just for the sake of, making $1. You're selling them something because you're serving them because they have a need. They have an emotional need that they want to have fulfilled, and you are filling that void that they're needing fulfilled. Sell a solution, not a service. So this is kind of piggybacking off of that. So here's how I like to think about it. When you're renovating a house, our clients know that there's going to be construction. Let's say they do a kitchen renovation. They know you're going to gut their kitchen. They know they're going to have to pick out appliances. They know you're going to choose countertops. They know you're going to do all that crap. They don't care about that. They want you to say, and at the end of the day, you're going to be standing in your kitchen with a glass of wine. Your son's going to be sitting here doing his homework. Your husband's going to be in the breakfast nook that we just designed for you. You're going to look out the window and see your other son playing in the yard with the dog. There's going to be onions sizzling in the pan on your new stove. That's what they want, right? Do you see that vision that we just created? So you have to sell that solution to their problem. That's the emotional aspect that I just talked about. Whether that's a regular sale or an upsell, you have to, get in their head and figure out what they want. So sell that solution to them. Don't just sell a service. Anybody can sell a service. You can sell a service. You can put a service on a website. It's what you can sell them as a solution that matters. Think long term. I put this here because I don't ever want to be a flash in the pan with my clients. I want my clients to always refer me to other people. I want them to, see me in the grocery store and not run down the other aisle. I want them to say hi. I want them to just love, everything that we've done for them. And I want what we've done to have, longevity and life to it as well. So I don't ever want you to sell something to someone just because, oh my God, I got to pay the mortgage this month, or oh my God, I'm freaking out because I got to have payroll or whatever. Think long term and don't just sell something for the sake of selling something. And then lastly, oh my God, listen. Crazy, right? You're going to see that a lot. All right, we're going to turn the page and go from sales to upselling. I've kind of given you the lay of the land here with sales. You kind of have my philosophy with how I feel sales should be done. That's just a little tip of it, but those are the basics of how I like to sell. And as you can see, it's really just a consultative method of getting into the client's head, listening to what they need, and really, honing in on that versus just selling them to make money. So let's talk about upselling. What is upselling, first of all? It may be a little different than what you guys have thought about. In the traditional sense, upselling is simply asking your customer to purchase additional or upgraded products or services in addition to what they've already intended to buy, right? So it could mean that you saw a beautiful sofa here at Universal and you're like, oh, wow, I want to upgrade the sofa that they have, and, this one's a lot more or whatever, and you want to talk them into buying a sofa or a light fixture or whatever, right? That's one way of thinking about that. So you're upgrading them in addition to what they've already intended to buy. So they probably called you, on the consultation, or on the discovery call, I should say, and they booked the consultation, and then they have things in mind, right? So they're like, oh, yeah, I want to add furniture to my house, or I want to do this and that and the other. They have a plan in place. We have another plan too, right? We have other ways to upsell them because we see things that they don't see. And that's the reason why we are professionals, because we can see those things that they probably need to do. And it's not just for the sake of upselling them, it's because these are legitimately things that they need to do in their house, back to the serving portion that we talked about. Here's a quote. So upselling is not about pushing, it's about suggesting the right thing at the right time in a way that adds genuine value to the customer's experience. So let this sink in. So it's not about pushing, it's about suggesting the right thing at the right time. That's really important too. You don't just bring this up, willy-nilly. I'm going to talk to you about the time that I like to bring these up, but there is a right time to do this. Okay, just like the burger, I'm going to make you guys hungry, right? Just like the burger at a fast food restaurant. So you go into the restaurant, right, and you're like, I want a burger. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, okay, what do they say? Do you want fries with that, right? And we're like, well, I wasn't thinking about fries, but okay. And then they're like, it's just $1.99 extra. Well, these days, like $10.99 extra, but anyway, and then we're like, well, yeah, fries would be good with that, and the value's good, so maybe. And then they're like, well, have you thought about a combo? I have a combo, I have a package deal. And then we're like, well, how much is the package deal? And they're like, well, the package deal, the combo is like, just 50 cents more. And we're like, well, why not? So then that turns into the combo, right? So then you were like, well, that was easy. I can buy all of this and get these 3 things for less money than I would pay for them separately. It was easy. I just said yes. I didn't have to do anything else. No complications there, right? And it was in front of me right there, right before my eyes in like 5 minutes. So the dollar signs are because the restaurant made money off of that, and all they did was ask. Easy as that. It was not that complicated for them, and then we said yes because they just asked. And then what they did is they realized, like, I created this combo for a customer. Why don't I make other packages for my customers to buy from that'll make it even easier? So if I can sell one combo to them, I wonder if I can make other combos that they can buy from. So I'll make a combo about hot dogs and a combo for chicken and all these other things. So restaurants are really smart for us because we walk in and we're like, oh, okay, I'll take the number 1 or the number 2 or the whatever. And then for us, we're like, oh, that's very easy. I'm in the mood for this today. And it's all 3 of these things. And then they're making all this money from us. And all we have to do is point and say, that's what we want. This is the mentality I want you to take to your clients when it comes to upselling them for our services as well. So, upsells can happen in design too. Now, I'm not a fancy Photoshopper, as you're about to see, so this is not like amazing work here. But this was a project that we did. So I want you to see, though, how upsells can happen in design. So you can obviously sell your clients on the furniture, on the design of the room. We designed the bookcase, we designed, the fireplace, we gave them the sofa, this custom sofa. But then what if the client was like, okay, that's fine, but this doesn't look like what you have on your website. That's not a finished room. That's nothing. Like, that's kind of boring. And what if we were like, but we have a package for you for accessories? What if we were like, all you have to do is say yes, and then we can give you an accessories package that will take your room from that to that, right? And so instantly, wouldn't they say yes if all they had to do is agree to a number and tell us that we're going to give them this beautifully finished room, and all they have to do is agree to that. Boom, it's so easy. So upsells can happen in our world too. We just don't like to think about it that way. We tend to complicate things as designers, unfortunately, and we think that we have to filter everyone through the same process, and they have to do the same thing, and the only things that they ask for is the only things that we can sell them, and that is not the case. Because what all that turns into is just like the restaurant, is money, 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 money for us, because not only are we making money from, the products, we're making money also from the installation of those things and all the things around that, right? Because I don't want you to just make money from those little individual, tchotchkes that you're putting in there. It's your time from doing that as well. So these have so many other arms of revenue for it, and this is just one example. I'm going to show you many, many more, but this is just one way that you can upsell your clients. So why do we want to upsell to our existing clients? Have you guys ever heard of this know, like, and trust factor? So this is something that's really important, and it's hard to get, honestly. It's something that marketing companies, try and to get from all their different people. But the know, like, and trust factor is something that once you have it, it's very valuable. And we have that from our clients. That very best client that I was talking about earlier, you have that. So they've already have that. If they've signed with you, or if they're getting to the point of working with you, you already have that, chances are. So you have this know, like, and trust factor, And that's the point, to start to build upon this relationship and really start to grow with them and they grow with you. Secondly, you understand their needs financially and aesthetically. So you know what they like, you know what they don't like, you know what their financial, limitations are, you know kind of where they're a stickler, where they're not a stickler, what they're probably going to say yes to, what they might not say yes to. You know where you can push the boundaries, where you can't push the boundaries. So you have this relationship that you've developed with them. So this existing client is actually the perfect client to upsell. It really, really is. Next, you have pre-built relationships with vendors. Just like here at Universal and any other vendors here at Market, you have relationships with people. So you have relationships that you have worked with these vendors for years to build. That not only gives you, buying power with them, you're saving lots and lots of money, but it gives you relationships for customer service. It gives you relationships when there's a problem. All these things that you have pre-built in with these vendors, you need to take that and use that in the product with your upsells. I'm going to show you how in just a moment. And then lastly, it's just easier revenue than attracting a new client. I mean, think about if you went out and knocked on 20 doors, how many of them would say yes, right? Maybe one, but you already have this, hot lead in front of you that's ready to hopefully upsell. Why not upsell the person who's sitting right there in front of you versus going out to try to find new people? You have people in your business right now that you can upsell and make more revenue from. We're just not asking them. So, why? Why are they not happening? Why are upsells not happening? It's because we fail to ask. We just don't ask for it. Quick side story. I used to have, as I said, an advertising publication back in the day, and there was little advertisements, right? So there was small ads, big ads, all these little things. And so I noticed that people weren't selling, different companies, different divisions of the company weren't selling larger ads. And everyone came to me and they're like, John, why do you have all the larger ads on your publication? And I was like, because I ask. Literally, I just ask. Because my publication had only the larger ads on it and everyone else's had the smaller ones. So it all is because I asked. And so just ask. Don't be afraid. Just because a client comes to you with their list and their needs and their wants for their consultation does not mean that they don't need all these other things. It's up to us to ask them, do they want these other things? It's time to start asking for the upsell, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, here is my upsell blueprint. I've laid it all out. I've thought long and hard about this. This is, by the way, the first time that I've actually taught this subject, and I sat down, I spent hours thinking about how have I done it, how have I made it work, because we've made a lot of money in my firm off of upsells, and I really wanted to kind of formulate that for you guys. So here are some steps that I feel are, the way that we have made it work. First of all, as I said before, know what your client wants, know what they're looking for. Even more so, know their needs. As I said, know what they're needing versus what they're just asking for. If they're wanting to spend more time with their kids, if they're jealous because their neighbor's having all the best parties and they don't have room in their house to have great parties, ask them, listen to what they're saying during these consultations. You're going to pick up on things. If, they really do want to spend more time with their family, or if they don't ever use their dining room and they want to have an eat-in kitchen, all these things are their needs. That's what you have to pick up on when you're there with a client. As I said before, make it relevant. Don't just, if you're talking with them about spending more time with their kids in the kitchen and you're like, I think you should add a laundry room upstairs. That makes no sense whatsoever, right? So make it relevant to what they're saying, not just because you want to do something to make money. It has to be relevant to what they need and what they're asking for. Make it easy. Just as I said before with those combos, you don't want to say, oh, yes, we can do this to your kitchen. Here's my 55-point plan, and you pull out this long, thing that says, here's how I'm going to do it. No, they don't want to do that. They want that Staples button that you just push and say it's easy, right? So that's all they want. They just want to know they're going to say yes, and you're going to do it. That's all they need to know, right? They don't want this whole plan of everything. You do need to have a plan, of course, And you do need to have processes. If y'all know me, y'all know I love processes a little too much, but they don't need to get into that right now. You just want to tell them, I can do this. I can renovate your kitchen. I can totally do that for you. Here's the time frame. Here's the, I'll get the estimates for you. It's going to be super easy. Don't be pushy. This is hard to do sometimes if you really, really feel that they, should do it and that you hate that ugly tile or you hate that backyard. You really don't need to be pushy because that's just going to turn them away. So don't ever get pushy. I just don't. It's never going to come out in your favor if you're pushy. You're going to eventually beat them down slowly over time, I find, if you just show up for one thing and say, hey, if you still remember that, that kitchen we talked about, that sort of thing, but don't be pushy about it. Also get creative. As I said before, don't just recycle the same plans over and over. Don't just give them something that you've done for someone else. Come up with something creative. Come up with something unique that's just for them, because you want them to feel that you did create something that is original for their house, not just something that they're going to see on your website for another client. All right, here is the best place to start the upsell process, which is the consultation, I feel. So when we are doing the consultation, I'm already thinking about upsells because I know that they've come to us not knowing, not even realizing all the places in their house where we can really make more change for them. So this is where I start the process. This is how I do it. So I plant this upsell seed, as I'm calling it, during the consultation. And first of all, back to the whole good old listening. I'm listening, right? I'm listening during the consultation. That's the first thing we do. I'm listening intently, right? I'm listening so intently to the emotional need. So if they're telling me something and I'm picking up on cues that they're saying, or if they're telling me something and I see, I've even seen clients who have tears well up in their eyes when they say certain things, or, you can really pick up on cues from your clients. And if we just brush through our questionnaire and we don't really get into the meat of what they're saying and we act like we don't really care, or we don't care, we're not benefiting them. So really listen to what they're saying and write notes. Don't write where they can see it, right? If it's something personal that you're like, okay, she's really a mess. But, write notes that you need to remember later to help them out on, that you may want to upsell them on. So, but listening is so important, especially during the consultation. Ask more questions about areas that they did not contact you about. So as you're walking around and they're showing you, let's say, the family room, and you're like, oh, okay, have you ever thought about the lanai or the patio right there? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's fine. I've never really thought about it. It's okay. I've never really. You're like, oh, okay. So kind of just ask if they've even thought about areas like around where you're working, just to see, what their thoughts are on that. Then drop the seeds. This is where I drop those seeds. So I say, well, would you ever consider, since we're in this space, since we're talking about working in this space and we're already going to be here, would you ever consider, going ahead and transforming your patio into this lovely space? Because it opens right up from your family room onto the patio, onto the lanai. Why don't we just open that up and turn it into one big living space? Oh my God, I've never thought about that. That might work. So you see how it kind of, you ask and then you drop the seed, and then it gets their brain to thinking, and then they start to acclimate towards it. And then I want you to have, this is important too. I don't think we do this enough either. I want you to have specifics. So have specific stories in your head and have specific numbers in your head. So have specific stories, have specific numbers, and then ROI from past projects to talk about. So think about if you're talking about a family room, think about a family room that you did for another client and how that turned out so well and how the family's all together at night watching TV. You want to tell them about that. Think about if you opened up a wall in a kitchen and it's, now the whole family's together. If it's someone who wants to entertain, think about how you blew out a wall and now this is a big entertaining space. Whatever that client's looking for, have this, Rolodex of stories in your head to pull from, this card catalog, or even older, actually. It's not going well for me. Have this list of stories in your head to pull from that you can relate to that person. And when you just sort of stop and pre-select these stories, I know it sounds kind of silly, but if you have this sort of list of stories in your head, and you're like, oh my God, yeah, the Smith project, that is where we did X, Y, and Z. That's just like this project. She will relate to that. Or she had 3 kids, they have 3 kids. Or this was a bachelor, he's a bachelor, they had the same needs. That client's going to instantly feel like that's related to them, and then they're going to be more open to hearing what you have to say. I like to have some investment numbers as well. So if they're like, well, how much is this going to cost me? Like whatever. So have some numbers, just some rough numbers in place. So if it's a kitchen, have the kitchen renovation. If it's, blowing out a wall or, putting in sliders, whatever, have some rough numbers in place for them. You don't want them to you don't want to have like a specific number because, that's never good, but have a range of numbers in place for them that should be close to being, reasonably accurate. And then I always like to talk about ROI, and then ROI doesn't have to be, again, financial, but I do find that sometimes the husband in the relationship does want to know about the ROI, because you can talk about, well, when we did renovate this kitchen, it increased the value of this house. The client had it appraised, and the house went up, $500,000, and they only spent $150,000 on their kitchen or whatever. So have these ROI numbers in your head too, if you can, because you never know what's going to click with that person when you're upselling them, right? So by having these 3 little things memorized, it's just going to help you to have something in your repertoire to pull out. All right, so those are how you do it. And then here are 3 large scale areas that I like to upsell in. All right. Exterior spaces, because I like to pawn that off on someone else and just add it on to the client. So we partner with a lot of exterior companies who can work on exterior spaces, and then we collaborate with them. And because we have a working arrangement with them, we still make profit off of that. So we will collaborate with them, work with them, and then the client will benefit from that, and we still make profit from that. So exterior spaces are always an easy upsell for us because we can make profit from that. Legally, we do it all on the up and up. It's not a kickback and all those things. It's very, up and up. So exterior spaces are always great for us. Kitchens, I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands we've made on upsells on kitchens. It's just easy. Client, I want to change the backsplash. Well, what about the countertop? And have you thought about, I just want to paint my cabinets. Well, have you thought about actually changing your cabinets? Because have you seen how they're actually made? And let me show you how the quality of these are. They're not even, dovetailed. They're actually, all the things that you can show them is super important. It not only builds your character and the relationship that you have with them, it shows your knowledge as a professional too. When you start showing them like, oh, I know my stuff. Like I know what's quality, what's not quality, and I can not only upsell you, but show you why I'm qualified to do it as well. And I'm going to show you a kitchen renovation that we did in just a moment. But kitchens are great. I think that they're just a fantastic way to upsell. And then, as I said before, adjacent spaces, if there is a space that you're majorly renovating, it tends to make sense to also renovate or design. Even if it's decorative, you can still see that space from there. So if you're putting all this money into, even if it's just new furniture and an area rug, and it's still, IKEA, 20 years ago sitting over here, and you can see this from here, it doesn't make sense to leave that there. So for us, we always find it easy to go ahead and upsell them on those adjacent spaces when we are, upselling. So here are the guidelines that I have, just 3 little guidelines for upselling those large-scale upsells. Know what incentivized your client. So out of those 3 things that we talked about, out of those 3 areas that I said kind of have those stories in place, kind of know which one your client's leaning towards. Like if you talk to them and they're like, wait, what was that? What was the appraisal on that house? It went from $1 million to $2 million? Oh my God, okay. That's your key, right? So that's where you want to focus. Or if it's more about, the aesthetics or whatever. So know what incentivizes that client and play to that. Keep the ROI top of mind. Even if they say they don't care, they do care. Even if they don't want to know, they do want to know. They want to know that what you're putting into their house will have value down the road, and that you're not wasting their money. So I always tell clients, regardless of whether they want to know it or not, I always tell them that this will have a fantastic return on their investment, whether they ask me or whether they don't want to know. And again, as I said before, don't complicate it, make it super easy. All right, so this was a kitchen that we did. A brand new house. The clients called us, they just wanted furniture. We came in, and I was like, oh, so we're here to do the kitchen. And they were like, no, we just want furniture. And I was like, oh, okay. So literally they had just moved into this house, but this was the kitchen that the builder did for them in this house. And I was like, oh, dear God, this is, like, you put this tiny little apartment island into this huge, massive kitchen. Like, how silly. And they're like, no, we don't, the kitchen's new. Why should we redo the kitchen? It doesn't make sense. I'm like, it does make sense. And they're like, no, John, I'm not sure if we want to do that or not. I'm like, okay, I understand. Let's do the rest of the tour. Let's talk about it. So we did that, and then I kept going back to the kitchen and, did all my upsell techniques that I've told you guys about. We won't go into that. But it took, probably 3 other visits where I kept coming back, and we did the trade day, and then we did the specification, we did all the other meetings, and then finally I was like, okay, let's just get into this a little bit more. And so ROI was the thing that won this guy over, the husband, and so we did it. And so we took that kitchen, and as you can imagine, I was happy because it was terrible. And we were doing, by the way, this was a 7,000 square foot house, and we were doing the whole house, top to bottom, rooftop, everything. I was like, all of this, and we're not doing the kitchen. So we took that and then we turned it into that, right? So much better, right? Much, much better. Because not only aesthetically, but when I keep talking about how the client wanted to spend more time with her family, she literally, you guys, was crying because her kids would not spend time with her. They would not even spend time in the same room with her. So across from here is the family room, and then there was no eat-in area in this kitchen. Now, she literally cooks in the kitchen, the kids sit there, the husband sits over there in the breakfast nook and does his work. They're all together. It's literally, I go there and there they all sit. I'm like, ta-da, problem solved. Literally, you didn't even know that this one kitchen could solve the problem. So by upselling them, we definitely made a lot of money, from this kitchen, but more so, we solved this emotional need that they had. And so that's why I'm saying to you, if you just dig a little deeper on the emotional level with your clients, you can upsell them and still serve them, going back to the serving part of that, serve them, and then also, make a great profit at the same time. Okay. If possible, get all of the scope of work for upsells, large and small, approved prior to your main presentation. So what I mean by that is we do a big scope of work, and then we get that approved, and then we do a big presentation for the client. So like this kitchen, for instance, I like to know going into the presentation if I'm going to be presenting this large kitchen. So I like to ask them okay, are we going to move forward with this? Can we increase your scope from just furniture to now include a full-scale kitchen renovation? And they're like, okay, yes. So I try to work on them from that consultation up until the point, which, from that point is probably 3 months or so before the presentation. I try to make sure that they know that I want to get that solidified before we do the presentation, so I can show them the renderings, I can show them the specifications, all the things. So if possible, try to get that done so that you can do that presentation all at one time, and it just puts your best foot forward. But regardless of the approval of additional scope, here's what I want you to do. Present the concept of your upsells during your presentation. So if you have this whole house presentation and you think that there's at least a 60% chance that this client is going to approve that, I want you to go ahead and present your upsell at the presentation, because you're going to have this whole house there. You're going to have all the things, because we do our presentation all at one time. I don't know how you guys, anybody else do theirs all at one time? Okay. We do ours at one time. And if I'm going to have, all of these beautiful fabrics and wallpapers and tile, all these things there, and I don't have these other things that I'm going to present to you, they're going to be separate, then you're not going to get the whole gist of what I'm trying to show you. So I want that there at the same time. And This will make more sense when I talk about the few other upsells I'm going to talk about in a moment. But I try to have all of this done at one time. So if you think that there's a 60% chance that they're going to do that, I would suggest trying to do that at the main presentation. All right, here are some smaller scale ways to upsell. We've talked about the big ones. If you're a little scared to do that, here are some just little combo methods at the McDonald's that you can do for yourself. Window treatments, bed and bath and kitchen, and home accessories. So the key to doing this, and the key to doing it easily, if you don't build these into some of you may build this into your packages already, that's great if you do, but if you don't, if a client says, no, I only want furniture, or I don't want window treatments, or I don't need any accessories, or I don't need any thing for my kitchen or whatever, create packages for them. Create your combo meals, and do it when you can do it ahead of time. It's so easy to do. So create these packages that they can just say, yep, I want the kitchen package. Yep, I want the home accessory package, all these things, and they just purchase them. You make it so easy. So here's how you do that. I want you to build in profit. As I said, I'm all about making profit. We don't work for free. We're not nonprofits, and we love what we do, but not that much. So build in profit for materials and labor. So I want you to make money from what you sell them, and I want you to make money from taking that vase and putting it on that shelf. So I want you to make money from all those things, right? So make money from profit for the materials, AKA the markup, which I hate that word, but it's procurement management services is what I call it. So your procurement services and your labor for putting that in place, right? So make money from both of those things. Develop relationships direct with specific vendors to receive volume pricing. We're all here at Market. It is the perfect time to do that. So develop relationship with these people, get the best pricing, and then you have these vendors that you go to. And you guys, you don't need 500 vendors for every category of your business. Find the best vendors that you like to work with, stick with those vendors, be completely loyal to those vendors, and buy from those vendors and use those vendors a lot. Your buying power will increase, and then you know that you can go to those vendors and they will take care of you and you can find what you need. That's my little soapbox. Enter all items and time into your client management system for tracking. So you probably hate me now, right, for saying put all your time into something for tracking, because I know a lot of you probably don't do that, because I know you don't like to. But I want you to take the time to account for how long it takes you to actually install these things, because at the end of the project, I want you to make sure that you didn't waste time, that you didn't spend too much time at that client's project. So it's more about at the end of the project, sort of doing that review just to make sure that you didn't overspend time on it, but you're not going to charge the time. If you charge hourly, of course, you will charge for that, but I want you to pre-package this at a rate. So you're going to pre-package this at a flat fee is how I do it, and I think if you package it together for that client at a flat fee, at a package rate for all of these services, it's going to be much easier for them to digest than it is for you to say, oh, I don't know how much time it's going to take me to put accessories in. You do. Just sit down and do it. Just sit down and add the time up. You can figure it out. I want you to take care of the tracking, and I want you also to put all of your items into your client management system. If you have inventory items, keep those up to date. So if you do keep anything in inventory, we keep a few things in inventory to sort of pull from, like kind of shopping in your own studio kind of a thing. Keep those up to date. Invoice 100% up front. What? For material and labor. Oh my God, what a concept, right? Getting paid up front before we bring things into a client's home. So please invoice up front for all of these things. And then lastly, this is important too, include provisions for these upsells in your main agreement. That way you don't have to create a new agreement when you have them. So have provisions in place that say, if we do this, this is how we're going to invoice for this. If we do this, this is how we're going to charge for that. Then you don't have to create a brand new legal agreement for that client. So no matter what we do, whether it's adding a new addition onto the side of their house or selling them something, we have provisions in place for that. Window treatments. This is one category that we make a lot of money on. Everybody do window treatments? Yes. Okay. Love it. As I said before, we're almost done. Almost running out of time. Yeah. Develop relationships with specific fabric vendors to receive volume pricing. We always buy our fabric directly from the fabric vendor themselves. If you don't, you're wasting a lot of money by not doing that. So please, please, please try to buy directly from the fabric vendor. If you can, also purchase hardware from them as well. You'll also make more money from doing that. This is something that is a non-negotiable for us. We leave all specifications and installations to one team or company. So the same people who come out and measure and tell us how much fabric we need and tell us how long the drapery rods are and how many finials we need and how many rods and how many rings are also the same people who install it. We don't do any of that. So it's very, very easy. So just like it's easy for the client, it's easy for us. It takes all of that off of our plate, and if they mess up something, they're at fault. So I want it easy for me just as much as I want it easy for the client. So find a company, if you can, who can do all of that. Present and get approval at the same time as your furnishings, or if you can, show it at the same time as all the other stuff. So if you're showing a sofa, show your window treatments alongside of that. It just makes it easier, as you know, to get approvals. It just doesn't have the same effect if you're showing a window treatment without seeing how beautiful it looks with the sofa fabric. And I always like to install these at the same time as the main install because it's just easier for you, one and done, it just looks better. So try to install at the same time. Bed, bath, and kitchen is another easy package that we upsell. So create a package, cater to each area. You can do this ahead of time. You know exactly what goes into a bathroom. You know exactly what goes into a kitchen. You know exactly that you're going to need for what you're going to need for a bed. Why not create a package ahead of time and have that ready to go? It can change as far as the actual, specific bedding that you're going to have, but if you buy from, Lily Alessandra for your bedding, for instance, you can still use them and just change the specific bedding that you have, right? But you know that you're going to choose it from there, and you just change the color or whatever. So create a package that they can choose from. You know the cost, what it's going to be. The client just has to say yes. So you have these pre-selected items ready to go. They're in your project management system. You know the pricing. The client says yes. You tweak the color. You tweak the color. Then the client says yes. Boom. Other items to consider: multiple sets of sheets, not just one set of sheets. Multiple. You can do multiples of these, right? Multiple comforters, pillows, duvets, mattress pad, liners, blankets, throw pillows. Multiple sets of bath towels, pool towels, bath floor mats, glassware, dishware. We did an entire kitchen for a client. I was like, are you really going to let us renovate this entire kitchen and keep this ugly glassware that you have in here? Are you serious? And she was like, oh my God, you're right. It's terrible. I'm like, yes, we're going to Goodwill tomorrow. So we literally went to Goodwill and we ordered all new things for her. So you get that, you get that relationship with clients, right? Where you can say that too. Some of them I wouldn't say that, but you know what I'm saying. So you get to that point, and even small appliances, right? You can even be the person to bring in their coffee maker or their little toaster or whatever for them. So what I'm trying to get you to do is to get your juices flowing and see all the other areas where you can be this upper level of service for your clients, and you don't have to do any more work because you've already have these packages ready to go. Last one is the home accessories like we talked about earlier. Do all of you do accessories for your, who does not put accessories for their client? Anybody not? You don't? Okay. Does anybody do it with their main presentation, or who does it with their main presentation? Okay, and who does it at the end? Okay, I do it at the end too. All right, so what I like to do is keep a limited inventory of items. So I know that there are certain throws that y'all use on every project. I know there are. So I do too. I know there are certain pillows that you love to use on every project because they just work. If there's certain things that work on every project, why not keep a certain amount of those in inventory and just keep using them over and over? So you here at Market, you could purchase certain bookends or book toppers or whatever, have those in inventory if you have the space, and then just reuse them. Create a separate accessories budget, so have that separate from your main budget, from your main furniture budget for your client so that they're not getting those confused. I find that's easier. Package all the home accessories as a total investment. We break them up by room, but then we package them together as one total. have client approve the budget, approve the total, and prepay for that. And then also, I want them to understand what the process is for putting those in their house. Do you allow them to keep them for 48 hours and then return some things? Is it something where that they have to keep what you give them? What is that process? Like, they have to know what it looks like for them to keep those accessories in their house. So I want you to want them to understand like what they're being forced to do and what they have to keep and what they are allowed to return. So it's very important for that. This is a quote that I really like. A consummate salesperson is elegant in approach, gentle in persuasion, and tender in success. Great salespeople don't gloat about how much they charge per project. Great sales is about how you feel knowing you pleased your valuable client, and at the same time, you helped pay your child's college tuition. This is what we call warm and fuzzies for everyone. That is success. Isn't that true? It's just like it's just that win-win, right? It's that thing for everybody. We all have the win-win for that. And so hang on to the end. I'm going to give you the download for the presentation. But first, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Have you ever felt like any of this? Because I have a really big surprise for you. If any of you have ever felt that you're just a designer, not a business person, you've never been able to charge for your design services, everyone else seems to have it all together, you don't have a big team, so you can't do what other people do, your processes are a mess, I have something for you. So, I am serving you now, okay? I have something really, truly exciting, though. This is something I've been working on, and I have found a way to cater my coaching business because I was putting everybody into one category where I really should have broken people out. So I wanted people to be in this sort of early stages of their business, in the middle stages of their business, and then also the higher stages of their business. So I've created something for people who are in this building stages of their business. So I wanted to make this, I always announce something big here at the Universal presentation, so that's what this is today. So just hang in here with me for a minute. But now imagine if you're making a profit on every project, no more of that gross, nasty feeling of chasing your clients for payments, total confidence in your process from start to finish, multiple revenue streams. So I have multiple revenue streams in my company, only working on projects that get you excited, a pipeline full of clients waiting to work with you, and a business that supports you financially and creatively, and then a blueprint with checklists that will save you months of time that include shortcuts to grow right away. So that's what I've created, and I wanted to share that today. So this is a brand new program that I have, and I'm not a salesy person, but I do give you guys what I believe in, and I created this as this sort of building program. And this is something that I realized again that I was trying to put everybody into one category. So this is my roadmap to build a six-figure business, but still allow you to be a creative person, which is the part that I know we all love to do. And if you use this code, it's 50% off, but it includes modules taught by me and just so many different things. And I just love the program, and I'm really proud of it. It's a combination of all the programs that I've had, but I've catered it down to allow people who are building their business rather than people who are sort of in that middle stages of their business. And then this is some of the fabulous students of my program, one who is here today. And I love seeing their success. They've doubled their rates. They now have processes in place. They're able to, not worry about scope creep, all these things. So it's just a wonderful thing to see their success and to see them grow. And I just love what I do. It even has I have a designer calculator where it actually calculates your flat fee for you, which I normally have separately. It's included in there. So this is the course. It launches May 1st. I just wanted to announce that special announcement here at Universal. I always do something here at Universal. So this is only valid through the 21st. I don't think I'll have it at 50% off any time after that. So I wanted to give that to you guys here. So there you go. That's my special thing for you guys. And love to have you inside the program. And you can tell that I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve when I teach and all these things. So I'd love to have you inside of there. And if you have any more questions about that, come up and see me afterwards. And if you want, here is the there is the download of the presentation that you guys can have. But thank you very much for being here today. I hope you've learned a lot. Upsell, 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 upsell. I wish you all the best.